Welcome everyone, Questini here with my campaign guide for Eltharion the Grim and how to win his campaign on Legendary Very Hard difficulty. Now Eltharion has certainly an interesting and dynamic campaign compared to the other Legendary Lords of the High Elves, because you have a lot of flexibility in this campaign, and yet at the same time you are forced to deal with certain things, like deal with Scarbrand, deal with Wurzag. Climate-wise, this is an interesting point. You have Wasteland, Frozen, Temperate Island, and Savannah. Now, the Wasteland and Frozen aspect is important because your army, with this dual start faction, your main army and your named hero Cavill, so Batman and Superman, they start near the Badlands. But here's something that's very important in this particular campaign. They may start near the Badlands, but you also start with Tour of Rest. Now you do have a choice in this campaign, and I'm just going to showcase it over here, because you do start with an army with Spearmen, Spire Guard, all that against some Greenskins. I'm using an Auto-Resolve mod for the sake of it. Though if you're playing an Eltharion campaign, you're probably going to want to fight a bunch of battles manually. Something I'm going to avoid for the purposes of this video, but it is something that is certainly highly recommended in this campaign. Research-wise, going to get archery prize, spear world, militia training, and then hopefully military advancements. If not, I'm going to get trumpeters before military advancements. I'm going to get rid of the grazing meadows over here, and I'm also going to see what diplomatic options, like a trade agreement with Crix, is available over here. Also going to declare war on Aquitaine over here in this campaign for a bit of extra money. Money is certainly going to be tight in this campaign. By the way, before you get a peace agreement with Aquitaine, the first thing you're going to want to do is actually wait one turn. And then we're going to take this particular settlement. And I am just going to occupy it because there's very little money to be gained from that process. Now, when you take your first settlement, you have a choice. You can either keep Tour of Rest, which will give you 120 influence and 5 control for 10 turns, which is certainly very useful. Or you can give up Tour of Rest. Tyrion will take control of it. You get 50 growth for 5 turns and 25,000 gold. Maintaining control is the best choice, though I suppose you could give it up and then just declare war on Tyrion and take it back. Might be an idea, because Tyrion doesn't hate you, so chances are you could be able to get the peace agreement. And after that, you want to fight this particular battle, take this settlement, and what you're gonna want to do is recruit archers in both armies, get a room archer for both armies, training as well for Cavill, and just start recruiting a bunch of units. Now, here's the thing about this particular campaign. Now, in general, I say this: if you're not using an Auto-Resolve mod in your campaign, it is firmly recommended that you do fight battles manually. But in this campaign, even with an Auto-Resolve mod, you're probably going to want to fight a bunch of battles manually, because the way Eltharion works is that he has Warden supplies. The best way of gaining Warden supplies is to fight battles manually against armies led by lords in order to get prisoners. And with prisoners from the dungeon, you can execute them or send them away, but you can get free Warden supplies for each prisoner. And it is part of your campaign victory conditions to upgrade Athol Tamara fully for long campaign victory condition. Short campaign, upgrade it 5 times. So just keep that aspect in mind if you're playing this campaign. Another thing you want to do, by the way, over here is when you start this campaign, you may want to declare war on Wurzag, but let's take a look at what is actually available over here. Because we got the Thief Snatchers, we can declare war on Wurzag, get a bit of money. Though I wonder if that would be maybe potentially more beneficial. No, we can't just declare war on Wurzag. Money is going to be an issue in the first few turns of this campaign. Regardless, we've gotten ourselves some archers. I'm getting rid of the grazing meadows, and we are going to march on these Greenskins. Now, the Greenskins have an army over here. Now, one of the things to keep in mind about this campaign is that you've got a bunch of conditions to deal with Quake, to deal with the mutinous Gets, though the mutinous Gets are going to be destroyed. But at the same time, you also have an objective to deal with Grom and Ikagla. Now, Bretonnia will deal with Grom. Something to keep in mind here is that Grom will lose against Bretonnia, but only if the Fey Enchantress is capable of freely dealing with him. Faction potential, which is randomized at the beginning of the campaign, does play a major role in this potentially, but at the same time, most of the time, like, Grom will lose if the Fey Enchantress is given a free hand, but that depends on what happens with Ikagla. So if Ikagla attacks the Fey Enchantress, you probably will have to deal with Grom yourself, because it's just going to basically boil down to Lewin dealing with Grom, and Lewin has a lot of other things as well. So just something to bear in mind over there. Now, faction benefits-wise, you get the recruit rank +3 against Spirit Infantry, and you get -80 diplomatic relations with Greenskins. You also have an army ability for every single army called the Warden's Cage. And this particular ability is one use that you can use on a Lord or a hero, and it will allow you to capture them. But it's also a major debuff, so it reduces melee defense, it reduces armor, it prevents them from moving, it does damage per second. So if you want to kill lords in battle, like one of the problems you may encounter in secondary, with secondary or tertiary armies is that you could have a difficult time dealing with legendary lords. Well, Eltharion secondary armies and tertiary armies still have Warden's Cage, so they can deal with a lot of powerful legendary lords in a campaign. Also, all the influence that he starts with gives him the ability of getting lords with good traits for influence. But another thing you can do in this campaign, just start the campaign, take auto-resolve the first battle, you can do that on any difficulty, get the influence, recruit a bunch of lords over here with good traits, and then save them, and then load them. So over here, I'm going to get a prince with efficient, and just transfer all of these units in his army. Get rid of the mage lord over here, because money is going to be a problem, and just recruit some archers over there. Just something to keep in mind over here about all of this. Because, yeah, money is going to be tight in this particular campaign, so it's something worth bearing in mind. So, that's turn 1. Now, on turn 2, Warzag is always going to deal with the thief snatches. So, one of the things you could do is declare war on Warzag on turn 1. He won't attack you. He doesn't have the movement range, nor does he have... nor does he have the capability of attacking or winning against your army over there. You've got 5 melee units, siege, a hero. You're quite capable of defeating Warzag, which is probably one of the reasons you want to declare war on Warzag as quickly as possible. One thing to bear in mind about the starting position is to worry a bit about the border princes, because you kind of want to prevent Scrag from decimating them. You have a lot of power through that Warden Cage, and high elven armies in general are really good. So we're just going to declare war on Warzag over here. Obviously it would have been better if the Thief Snatchers had accepted a peace agreement over there, but so be it. And just declare war right here. Maybe get a peace agreement with Aquitaine. There we go. After declaring war on them through Grom. And we got this particular army. Like, this army of Greenskins is a bit weird. What we want to get over here is to get the Elven Gardens, to get the Noble, and just recruit more units. And yes, getting one with efficient over here is pretty important, because it will more or less nullify the supply line situation that you do have. Because you're basically going to start with 4% extra upkeep in your campaign. And while elves do certainly have a good economy, you don't necessarily have the very best economy right off the bat. So yeah, money can become something of a problem, if you will. It used to be that with respect to Safari, it used to be that with respect to Safari, Tyrion and Alariel would almost always wipe it out. Now, in the long term, they might do so, but given some of the AI changes compared to like the initial versions of Immortal Empires, Safari is mostly going to be left alone, and that means you can take it and get a rebellion. Your secondary army, remember, that Warden Cage is really a power, because it allows you to really eliminate a significant portion of the enemy's power in battle by killing their lords, effectively. Or neutralizing their lords. Though it is annoying with respect to Warden to auto-resolve, because there is a chance you can capture, of course, through the sake of auto-resolve. There is a chance you can capture a lord in battle, but it isn't necessarily the best chance available. Okay, that's a decent amount of money through an agreement over there with Aquitaine, but as you can see, I am certainly running out of money over here. But we're going to fight against Warzag right now, so it should help me. Like, fighting Legendary Lords. Fighting Legendary Lords does give you a good amount of cash. Like, whenever I fight a Legendary Lord army, you always make a good amount of money. Like, I think it's just the value of that army is inflated because, well, the Legendary Lord is leading it. And you might think, oh, how would you win against this battle? Well, this battle is easy, really. Warzag is easy enough to kill. Just one thing to understand about Warden's Cage, make sure you turn off guard mode when you're using Warden's Cage to kill an enemy lord. But yeah, like, this is a relatively easy army to defeat. Like, there's some potential problems here, of course, but you've got really good line holders, you've got artillery, you've got even some magic. Sure, it's 2 armies, it's gonna be annoying, but still. Like, corner camp, right, or find a good position. And Warzag, at this point, like, this is one of the things you don't want to do in this campaign. Don't let Warzag gain levels, because he's actually going to be really annoying if you let him gain levels. But whereas if you attack him very quickly, you know, he'll have rank 2, rank 3, whatever, probably rank 3, maybe rank 4 at most, right? But he's not going to have a lot of spells. Regardless, we do have this Greenskin army, but because the Greenskins moved over there, they're actually not really going to be in a great position, and we got our first noble. Same idea, you want to use the save low character system in this particular campaign, as opposed, like, it will give you a significant amount of power. The best trait is Frugal. The reason it's the best trait is it gives you 20% ammunition, 5% campaign movement range, which is, yeah, pretty damn powerful. And then once that's done, you want to get rid of that. I'm not going to enable that commandment just yet. And now we can go deal with Warzag. And fun fact, we still haven't captured another prisoner. That is a bit of an annoyance. You don't need any more units over there for Eltharion's army. And we're just going to load another character. I'd recommend princes early on, because you might say, well, what about magic? Well, sure, okay, fair enough. You know, there's value in the magic argument. But at the same time, like, early on, princes really help you out. Like, one with organized, one with efficient, all that good stuff is pretty powerful to have. So I'm just going to recruit a third army over here, start getting Bowmaster, and financial issues have largely been resolved. I'm also going to get a quest battle soon enough with him. Going to get sword player, speed of Assyrian, because that melee defense's speed is pretty useful.
Give the word.
And we are going to be on the road. So now, at this point in this campaign, all I'm going to do is defeat Warzag, build another army to deal with Galbraz. The top knots might be a bit of a problem, but not really something that's going to stop me. And I'm also going to get Eltharion's quest battle soon enough, because he's rank 6. He's going to get one at rank 7, which will happen after I take Ekrund from him. And we're going to get a rebellion here, most likely as well. Like, I'm kind of going to want to trigger a rebellion deliberately, or maybe not, I don't know. Guess will depend, but I certainly will want to trigger one over here, and maybe, hopefully, get some Warden Cage action as well. Okay, I do want to talk about the prisoner situation that you do have. You will get a diplomatic relations problem with the faction of whose prisoner, or the race whose prisoner you're holding. But prisoners by the way, the UI over here is a bit bugged. But prisoners do give you several advantages. One of the things that you want to do with your initial Warden supplies is to get the interrogation chamber, because this will allow you to interrogate them and get various benefits for Mistwalker units, which are incredibly powerful unit. So that's one of the first things you want to do. And then you have a choice between either indoctrinating a prisoner and getting campaign line of sight, influence, and 5% faction treasury per turn, which can be really powerful. People have been using that, or you can execute the prisoner. Though, of course, that won't work with Legendary Lords. So I'm going to indoctrinate this prisoner and get 5% of 5% of their economy going in this particular campaign. It's not going to be a lot, but it does give you various benefits. And you can fight the battle manually, I should add. Get a prisoner, and like in a situation like this, for instance, or a situation like the one I just faced, you can actually have like multiple prisoners captured. Like, for instance, the army here sallied out, right? But now they have a new, and I captured their leader. Gonna lose those Eltharion Reavers. Rip. Even they played a major role in the victory, by the way, but so be it. And just get that. And there is a chance in auto resolve to capture prisoners. I'm just gonna live with that.
Right away.
Yeah, I do love the auto resolve, regardless. And over here, just gonna get some lovely, lovely income. And more Warden supplies. Actually, we're just going to... One of the commandments you want to get is Invocation of Eltharion. Man, this particular campaign you do wish to fight a ton of the battles manually. By the way, one thing to also point out, if you want to ensure a rebellion happens, then once you take over a settlement, you just want to move the army that took over the settlement out of the settlement. Because like over here, I have such a high level of public order that there's a pretty good chance, like, because obviously I have this particular effect of control and then invocation, so that's 10 control.
Prince of Eltharion.
Yep. By the way, High Elven princes better than Greenskin bosses in battle. Regardless. Oh, going out of money. What a shame. Didn't see that one coming. Oh, wait.
I am ready to parley. I hope your words are one.
I could declare war on the border princes and then get the peace agreement with them.
What?
But various possibilities do lie ahead over here.
So?
Well, one of the easier paths is to, you know, declare war on the Scourge of Cain. Over here. That will solve some of the financial issues I have. Because next turn this army is going to take the Shrine of Loa. I could also delay the repairs over here. Or just repair the main building, forget the port. Various choices. Yeah, money is gonna be tight in this particular campaign, no lie. No freaking lie.
A dignified visitor, such a rare treat.
Now, Nakari is not necessarily...
Yes, more. I spill.
And there we go.
Fine.
Peace agreement. Instantly. Financial issue solved. There's also a Norscan pirate fleet around the Sartosa area that you could just send your fleet against to get a lot of money. And Eltharion's quest battle should trigger next turn. So I'm aiming to get a rebellion over here. Warzag is going to be destroyed. Like, you want to destroy him quickly, because he's certainly going to declare war on you. That minus 180 diplomatic relations you have with him is, like, that minus 180 aversion is probably one of the highest in the game. Now, the AI is less stupid than before. The key to preventing AI factions like this declaring war on you willy-nilly is to maintain a lot of faction strength. Also high reliability. Okay, so we get the quest panel over there. And given the situation here, I am just going to take this particular settlement to get vision with Tyrion.
The Asher followed strength.
And the same lord that we indoctrinated.
I will share my experience. I am the defender of Ulf.
Shame about Tyrion, though.
Greetings. The Phoenix Court understood.
I'm the prophet.
Now, one of the things you may want to do here, don't declare war on Nakari unless you're willing to fight Nakari. One of the things you can do with the huge amount of influence, because you might ask, well, why not just spend all that huge pile of influence to actually get, just recruit lords outright? Well, diplomacy. Diplomatic benefits. Now, Warzak does have an army right there. And we got another lord. This time around, we will... Well, you know, you can always just let them go, but yeah, it's an experience for Eltharion as well.
For the fallen.
Now, this quest battle, you gotta be careful here a bit. Though you do get some pretty damn powerful reinforcements over here, so it's just really a question of like surviving this battle. And there's the financial issues solved, if you will.
Protector of Ulthuan. Journeying.
Just gonna put myself in camp stance over here
Preparing camp.
because I do want global recruitment. Now over here, like one of the things I like to do with ranking lords, like I like to get an army skill that's really useful. So ammunition is pretty damn powerful for archers, and then save up
Speak.
for other things. So over here, we're just going to get more income.
Where to?
So economic situation is going to improve. Get more bowmaster, replenish troops. Why put the noble in the second army? Well, it's not like you have really much of a choice, to be honest with you.
My life for Tor Ifris.
Considering you can recruit a noble very early on there, and you can't do so necessarily.
Duty is
Actually, you know what? There's no reason to keep those guys because, you know, I can recruit just high-ranking spearmen. Gonna take a bit of damage, but the quest battle I just fought is gonna give me 10% casualty replenishment for 2 turns, so that's going to be useful. I'm a bit concerned about the army that I have over here because they might decide to attack. And just gonna recruit more archers. Obviously, maintaining this level of armies early on in a campaign is not necessarily going to do... It's not necessarily gonna work well for your economy, right? I could stop the global recruitment if I really wanted to over here. But these Greenskins, they do have a lot of troops, and then after that we have Scarbrand. Could I defeat Scarbrand in a head-to-head confrontation over there with the tertiary army? Believe it or not, yes, because Scarbrand is powerful, undeniably so. But on the flip side, you do have that Warden's Cage, and I'm not joking, that thing is broken as hell. Now, what's the public order situation over here? Actually, let's just move. Do what I have? Yes, I actually. Like, I might have been tempted to move that army. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, so you have enough movement range from the capital here to Cairn Fell, but you don't have enough movement range from the Shrine of Loic to Cairn Fell. Yeah, don't ask me about that. I don't know what to tell you. Well, it's also the frugal aspect of the noble, right, playing a role. So, we're just gonna get a rebellion. And I'm also gonna declare war on those ogres at the same time. Because, like, the ogres would run away, sure. But, because they're right next to that settlement, we can declare war on them. And then attack the settlement, destroy both armies at the same time. And you can't capture 2 lords in a single battle, sure, but you absolutely can But like really, I would be able to auto-resolve that situation. Honestly, like even in the default game. Okay.
Guardian of the Phoenix.
So money is fine over here.
One expects. Tor Everest.
So just declare war on these boys to get a bit more money, and we take this element in.
Failure is unthinkable. Waste.
You can obviously raise these kind of settlements, right?
No glory.
Okay, over here, we're just gonna merge some archers. And start replacing them with archers with light armor. Reason you want to do so?
For the king.
And then there's another lord that we could capture there for more Warden supplies. Like, yeah, you want to do this. Like, I'm not joking. Like, this is important. One thing that's useful here to keep in mind is you can get the Shrine of Loic upgraded. Now, one of the things I want to mention here, before just skipping ahead a bit, you want to keep Tower of Rest. The reason you want to keep Tower of Rest is it gives you recruitment and capacity for these units. And these are very powerful units. Like, all the thing about the Warden Cage, a lot of the upgrades in the dungeon, they're related to these units. So actually upgrading, so keeping Tower of Rest is pretty important. By the way, really nice benefit here in Eltharion skill line is Unyielding March. Why? That global recruit capacity is freaking great over there. Now, Wall Warden, not so much, but armor for shielded units, pretty good. Enemy leadership, pretty good. Grim Discipline, pretty solid. All things considered. Now, one of the things I want to point out, okay, so if we stay here, well, we're gonna get a rebellion.
Prince of Elf.
Undeniably so. And there's also gonna be, like, we're rank 12, so we're gonna get another quest, the quest objective over there.
No mercy.
And now, well, I'll just fight this. I'll have to fight this manually to pick up another. Or another thing I can do is there is a mod. There is a mod that disables the auto resolve on. No, the auto-save on Legendary. So if you want to play a campaign as Eltharion, but you don't necessarily want to fight a bunch of battles manually, like one of the things is obviously using auto-resolve mod. Another thing is using this quick save mod just to, yeah, get a bunch of Lord for Warden's captures for Warden's Cage. Because it's like kind of a 50% chance. It feels like 30% or 25%, but you could just like save, reload. Do this especially early on because like you just want to get a couple of upgrades for your short campaign victory conditions, not necessarily the long campaign. Anyway, skipping ahead, next target, Safri, and dealing with the rebellion. That's obviously gonna creep up. Couple of turns later, I am about to attack Safri. Now, interesting note here. I moved this army right here in this particular area.
As you say.
I didn't even have a military access with Tyrion, but I got that just now. The important thing, though, is Safri's army is either in the White Tower or in Torfinu. So if you're attacking from the south, you declare war on them one turn before you attack them, they'll force march their army wherever it is to try and deal with you, right? And that obviously gives you a significant opportunity to obliterate them, because obviously an army that's in force march is just not going to be as effective. Besides, you know, Warden's Cage is a hell of a power ability. And yeah, this army, even though it doesn't have the armor of the archers with light armor, it is a more effective army, because like this Lord is rank 2, rank 1, we got a rank 7 with a lot of combat ability, we got a noble. Also dealt with some ogres over here. And I am about to declare war on Malagor because, well, I do want that particular settlement. Also, I may want to trade Scarbrand for some territory. Because, yeah, Stormhenge. So let's see if Mr. Scarbrand is willing to give me Stormhenge. Maybe not.
Lord of Fear.
Maybe not. And also over here, one tendency that Scrag has is to declare war on Barakvar, as opposed to dealing with if you don't intervene in the whole affair. If you intervene, like if you declare war on Scrag, he will change his behavior. Just worth pointing that one out. As for the battle here, yeah, you do want to capture one particular lord here. And one thing to also mention, you know, I might benefit from attacking that secondary army if I could, but I can't right here. So anyway, just loot and occupy it, and no prisoner. You can't get the prisoner if the battle you're fighting, by the way, eliminates the faction, so rebellions are not necessarily going to give you that. But yeah, that's just a bit unfortunate, you know, trying to get prisoners when you eliminate factions is just a bit frustrating because you obviously want to upgrade that. Though, in this case, I already have, but it's free upgrade, so in a pretty good path regardless. So, deal with Safri. With that, you just lure them out, because if you just take Port Elistor, they will sit in the White Tower of Hove, or they might attack you after that. But this way, you know, next turn I can just go and attack there. And one interesting thing is, like, the Invocation of Val. One of the things it does, but isn't stated over here, it gives you siege attacker on every single one of your armies. And it gives you a way of destroying walls. So that is a pretty substantial benefit that you can take advantage of. I mean, as for this situation right here, regardless of what Scarbrand ends up doing, I'll just, you know, take this territory, sell it to him, and yeah, just start rebuilding over here in Galbraz, assuming he doesn't take the territory. If he does, I'll just end up in a war. I can fight the defensive war with the secondary army against Scarbrand. Though he is rank 13, so that is tricky. Like, that's the problem with Scarbrand. He's gonna farm some experience, but you can always wait a bit with Forik potentially declared war on him, or you can pick that fight with Scarbrand yourself. Regardless. Moving on, after dealing with all of this, what do you want to do? Like, you want to get Tour of Rest to tier 3, by the way, as quickly as possible, and you want to get the Mage Tower right here. One, to recruit the mage, of course, and to keep the mage tower because you're going to want to recruit more mages once you complete your short campaign victory condition. But more importantly, you want to get access to precise fletching, which requires you to get military advancements too, which requires the archive. So yeah, just get it, because that 20% ammunition, 10% missile strength is pretty damn strong. Don't ignore that. Like, over here, I'm getting militia training. And another thing I want to point out here about militia training. So you're getting extra recruit rank for spearmen, rangers, and archers. Now, basically, this allows you to recruit silver, like all of this combined. Faction effects, recruit rank, all that. And even commandment that gives you extra recruitment slots. This gives you a ridiculous level of power. By the way, I could have switched that commandment here in Northern Everest, but I didn't need it. Like, I fought this battle over here for the capital manual, mostly to capture the Lord there. So I took all of Safri fairly easily enough, got the rebellion as expected, deal with it, or I could let it stew for an extra turn potentially to, you know, improve the diplomatic relations over here even further. But it is better to get this army moving as quickly as possible. But one nice benefit is, like, you can declare war on Calador while having an army like in Tyrion's territory, and maybe get and have an alliance with Tyrion. Take Calador for yourself. And yeah, over here, we're just gonna keep getting settlements to a higher and higher level. Money is, of course, going to be a consistent problem. Nakari potentially declaring war on you would be a major issue in this particular campaign. And we are going to... Like, I took some territory over there, and I'm going to sell it to Barrackvar. Though I'm not going to make an alliance with Barrackvar, because you want to leave yourself open to the possibility that you might declare war on Barrackvar. Assuming that that Forgrim hasn't allied them. Regardless, at this stage, I am going to trigger a rebellion. I'm going to get a rebellion triggered over here. I've sold the Sunken Kermarch to Scarbrand after taking out Malagor, who was, by the way, very easy because, like, I don't know what to tell you about, like, I don't know what to tell you about, like, the Beastmen, but they've become really passive since one patch. Like, they don't recruit even full armies. It's weird to actually witness. Now, Grom is getting wiped out over here. As we can see, like, he's rank 26, like, he's at war with Carcassonne, but Carcassonne is actually winning that particular war by the looks of it. How do I know that? Well, if he was winning, he'd have a higher strength rank over here. And it is pretty common to see Grom getting wiped out over there. Don't ask me why. Also, Nakari, I'm going to has declared the war on Musalon, though there is a chance. I mean, there's various possibilities at this point. Like, at this stage, it becomes a question of RNG. Like, what's gonna happen, right, in this campaign? But yeah, money is tight, but we just deal with this, maybe sack this particular settlement, likely so, and then go against Scrag, but I'm just delaying that for a bit. I want to sell the territory that Scrag has to Belagar, because one of the things you can do in this campaign, though, over here with Forgrim taking Iron Rock, it's kind of upset that, but one of the things you can do is actually give Carrick Peaks to Belagar and make him a really powerful faction. Though, don't do that if you're going to get the Dwarf Endgame Crisis, so just bear that aspect in mind with regards to that. Yeah, maintaining 3 full stacks at this point is certainly going to take a toll on my finances. I could declare war on Scarbrand, but a bit skeptical of doing that right now because, like, I would rather not do so. Like, I'd rather get the rebellion, let it stew for 2 turns, improve the public order over here. One of the reasons you want Galbaraz is this landmark is really, really good. So, yeah, like, at this point, the plan would be deal with Scrag, meet Belagar, one way or another, maybe march directly on Skaven Blight, or what I could do over here is, like, with this army that is under Eltharion, cross the sea over here, and then with this army just put it in this territory, because, like, this army right here can defeat Scrag in a 1v1 fight. Don't underestimate, like, just how powerful Warden's Cage is. The reason Warden's Cage is so powerful is, like, a lot of the army leadership, like the balance of power. Like, the way to route an army in a battle is balance of power. It's hidden on legendary, or yeah, basically legendary battle difficulty, like realism mode bullshit. But one of the ways, like, there's that balance of power bar. But that bar swings heavily in your side if you eliminate the enemy leader, especially if it's a legendary lord. And because you've got so much range power, your lords are good duelists, Scrag is not a particularly great duelist, and the Warden's Cage is such an incredibly powerful ability, then that means you're really, really good with even secondary armies to just kill the enemy leader and just rout their entire army with minimal casualties on either side. It is crazy good. Especially, like, with the High Elves and their massive ranged prowess, because, like, that's the thing. Like, you just put the Warden Cage on a Lord, or you send your Lord to duel them, like, you let the Lions engage, because your Spearmen will take a hell of a beating, and can easily replace them at high ranks. So the fact that you're recruiting high-ranking Spearmen is actually a huge benefit. So you send your Lords to duel enemy Lords. You use your Archers to hit them as well, to mass target them, and then when they're low HP, you target Warden's Cage. Like, ideally, you would use Warden's Cage when their morale's about to break, but you can use Warden's Cage earlier on in a battle as well. Regardless, though, if you want to capture, you want to use them, like, when they're about to break, or when they're breaking. You use Warden's Cage, you kill them, you break their morale, and their army will just crumble very, very easily about that. Like, it works against legendary lords, it works against virtually every faction, more or less. Unless you're dealing with Dwarven Slayers for obvious reasons, like unbreakable units. Anyway, what I do at this point, like, just level up Ekrund, get this to a higher tier, right? Obviously, get these elements. Like, you might do a lot of region trading over here in the Badlands, but you're expanding in Wolf 1. So, like, what you want to do is, like, take, well, Terranok apparently in this case has fallen to, they fall into Eltharion, which is a bit annoying, but you can take Alador and you can then march on Morathi. Because you might just be able to wipe out Morathi. Like, again, same principle. If you can defeat Scarbrand with that, with the tertiary arm, you can sure as hell defeat Morathi. And it ends up being an incredibly powerful ability to have. I'm a bit concerned about Nakari in this situation, but it's like, yeah, she's like, Nakari declare war on Musalan. Not sure what Luin is doing, but okay, whatever. Anyway, I'm probably fighting Musalan on his own. Costin here signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications. I'll do another video about what you want to focus on at the end game, like what you want to build towards. But like, yeah, early on, a noble, mage gonna become available in like 3 turns. Get precise fletching over here and deal with all of it. Stay tuned for more.